Good afternoon, everybody. Miss Owen here for your first topic session on remote learning. Hope you're all well. So our topic this half term, most of you will know, is ancient Egypt. So we're going to go straight into it, and this is sort of a geography lesson, looking at the location of Egypt. And you guys are going to be creating sort of little fact files to do with Egypt, learning about the capital city, its language, its population, but also whereabouts it is in the world. And looking at some interesting facts into ancient Egypt as well. So our learning powers for today are questioning. We need to be asking those questions, don't we? We need to be finding out things about a different country and learning a little bit more about the ancient Egyptians before we really delve in deep. And making those links to what we see and the questions that we ask. Okay, so our lesson today is location of Egypt. It might be that you want to write the short date and the title in your topic books like you would in school. So let's start with a little bit of total recall. I think it's important for us to refresh our memories. So let's look at one topic ago. What was the name of Charles Darwin's book? 2 topics ago, name the volcano that should say that erupted in 79 AD. And name a country in Europe, any country. So you could pause the video now, answer those couple of questions, because I'm just going to give you a couple of answers. So one topic ago, the name of Charles Darwin's book was The Origin of Species. The name of the volcano that erupted in 79 AD was Mount Vesuvius, that destroyed Pompeii. And name any country in Europe. You could have had France, Germany, you could have had Spain, Portugal, all those kinds of places. Always look up a world map to sort of help you. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of total, well, not total recall, but of true or false questioning now. What I want you to do is either write true or T or false or F in your book, and we're going to come back to these answers in a bit, and let's just see how many you could possibly get correct. Okay, so the first one, Egypt is in Africa. Is that true or false? Egypt has a hot climate and it is impossible to farm there. True or false? It has borders with Libya and Syria. True or false? It borders the Mediterranean Sea on both coasts. True or false? The major river is called the Nile. True or false? Most of the country is covered in desert. True or false? The capital city of Egypt is Luxor. True or false? So just write your answers down. And like I said, we're going to come back to this little quiz towards the end of the session to see how many you got correct and see how many, as we go through the lesson, you could actually answer. Okay, so we're going to look at some key vocabulary now, and I think it's really important. These are sort of geography terms that some of you might have come across before as it is anyway, but when we're thinking about the landscape of a country or a place, we can look at its features, and they can be categorised into either physical features or human features. So physical features are the natural patterns, processes and features of the Earth's surface. So that's when we're thinking about what it actually looks like in a natural way. So mountain ranges, how much of it is desert, how much of it is green, lush fields, what kinds of rivers there are, all that kind of things. And then the human features are the impact and behaviour of humans on the Earth, the culture, the environment, the economies. So this is when you're looking more at the population of a country, the language of a country, what parts of the countries are populated by people, how many cities there are, all that kind of stuff. So when we're thinking about looking in depth into a country or a place, we don't only just concentrate on the physical aspects of that country, we think about the impact that the humans have had on that country as well. Okay, so here we go. This is a sort of zoomed in feature or zoomed in image of Egypt on a world map. Now, it might be an idea that if you've got access to Google Earth, have a little go with Google Earth, typing in Egypt, having a little look, see whereabouts it is in the world, all that kind of stuff. So if we look here, this is Egypt. There's a little key down the bottom, so that will sort of help us to understand a couple of the features, the physical features, as well as the human features of the country. So here there's a star, and that star tells us the capital. So the capital city of Egypt is actually Cairo. And this here running all the way through is the River Nile. So it travels all the way through Egypt and actually carries on into Sudan, which is one of the countries that borders Egypt. And we've got Libya here as another country that borders Egypt. And then the River Nile sort of lets itself out into the Mediterranean Sea. And we've also got the Red Sea here as well. And these are all just really key areas of Egypt, and you'll see that there's lots of cities and things like that placed along the River Nile. We're going to look a little bit more in detail into that now. Okay, so this is what Egypt looks like. A majority of it is quite dense desert or patchy areas that really not a lot of people live in, and we're going to, like I said, explain that a little bit more detail now as well. So we're going to look at some images of cities within Egypt, the heavily populated areas, and we're trying to make links now to our learning. So what do you notice about the cities? Are there any patterns to them? So just have a look at a couple of the images, and then we'll discuss what we found. So this is Cairo, the capital city, very heavily populated. This is Alexandria. Again, quite a heavily populated area. This is Luxor. This is more of a historical setting in Egypt. There are obviously people that live there, but a lot of the historical temples and things like that can be found here in this area. Okay, so here is a selection of the images that I just showed you. If you just pause the video now, just have a quick look at them, and there's something in particular that occurs in every single one that you might notice. Okay, so what's really interesting about all of these places is they're all near or next to the River Nile. The Nile is the greatest source of water within Egypt, and it's why a lot of the cities, and if we go back to this world map very quickly, this map of Egypt, I should say, you see that a lot of the key cities are placed along the River Nile, and that's because of because they need the water. They either need it for farming, they need it to use as a transport for transport. They need to use it for a lot of reasons, and that is why these areas along the Nile are actually a lot more populated than anywhere else in Egypt. And if you were to look on Google Earth and other satellite images of Egypt, you would see that all along here is the majority of the greens area. All this is sort of dark brown and made up of sand, whereas along here there's this sort of strip of green, essentially, where the water source is, so therefore vegetation can grow, farming can occur, and that's why even in ancient times Egyptians would flood towards a little pun there, would migrate and live along the River Nile, as that was their water source, and it was so essential to them to be able to survive, to be able to grow their crops and all that sort of stuff. So here again, so you look at Cairo, got the River Nile running right the way through. Alexandria got it here with the River Nile along the side, and then Luxor, there's the River Nile again. So it's really essential. So linking to our higher order question there, do you think the Nile was important to ancient Egyptians? If so, why? What would they have needed to have used it for? Well, they would have needed to use it, like I said, to grow their crops, for transport. It was a great source of water for them, and very little would grow anywhere else in Egypt. So without the River Nile, Egypt wouldn't necessarily be a country that people would want to live in, unless on the coastline. So I've included this link in the links that you were sent at the beginning of the day for topic, and it's a clip about the importance of the River Nile, not just for the ancient Egyptians, but also for modern day Egyptians. So what I would suggest now is you pause the video, go and have a little look at this clip, because it's really interesting. And there's also a little information about this contraption. Some of you already might know what this is called, but try and figure out what it is used for as well. Like I said, it's a really useful clip. I'm not going to show it to you now because it would make the video a little bit too long, but it might be a really good idea for you to go and have a little look at it, find out what this is called and what it was used for, and to really understand the importance of the River Nile, because that sort of underpins a lot of our topic. So we sort of go back to this true or false quiz that we started at the beginning of the session, and we'll go through the answers now. So is Egypt in Africa? That is true. Egypt is part of the continent Africa, and it is very, very hot there. So Egypt has a hot climate, as in impossible to farm there. That is actually false. As we've talked about the River Nile, farming is possible, but it obviously has to be near a water source. Hence why a lot of Egypt is populated along the River Nile and not really anywhere else. It has borders with Libya and Syria. Well, that's false. If we look back at that world map, it does border with Libya, but not with Syria. It's bordered with a place called Sudan. It borders the Mediterranean Sea on both coasts. Well, that's false. It borders the Mediterranean Sea on one of its coasts, but then we've got the Red Sea on its other coast. Fine. The major river is called the Nile. Well, that was true, and hopefully a lot of you would already have known that anyway. Most of the country is covered in desert. Like I said, that is true, apart from the areas around the River Nile with that strip of green, if you were to look on Google Earth. And the capital city of Egypt is Luxor. Well, that is false. The capital city, as we know from looking at that map, was Cairo. Okay, so this just brings me on to what you guys are going to do as your task today. There is a link here, which I have included in your links slip from today's learning. But what I'll do is I'll just move that down here until you can see it, so you could almost copy it out into a search box on Google if you wanted to, but like I said, the link is included in the links you were sent out today. And what I want you to do is use the link provided on the link sheet sent through in Teams. You're going to create a detailed fact file about ancient Egypt. Okay, it's not necessarily just about ancient Egypt; it's about Egypt as it is now as well, because there are obviously quite certain characteristics of Egypt that have survived thousands of years. So in terms of where it is in the world, its capital city. All that kind of stuff that's still relevant now as it was back in ancient Egyptian times. So you're going to sort of find out a little bit about the country as it is now, thinking about its physical features, thinking about its human features, but also you're going to go ahead and have a little look at see if you can find some facts about ancient Egyptians as well, because obviously that is our topic. So if you're going to do bronze, you'll go, these are the certain bits of information that I definitely want you to include. Okay, depending on what you are doing and what level of challenge you're going for. So bronze, you're going to look for the capital city, the population, the language, and the location in the world. Okay, where is Egypt? Silver, you're going to look for the location in the world. So again, where is it? Its capital city, its language, its population. You're going to look at this at the flag. So it might be an idea that you draw a picture of the flag, or maybe just describe what the flag looks like. There is a section on the website which I'm going to show you in a second that's labelled up as geography landscape. So for this, I just kind of want you to write down a couple of facts about the geography, the landscape of the country, and that links into our physical features. And then also what I like to do is have a little look at the section that's labelled up as ancient Egyptian facts. There's about 10 of them, so I want you to include about 5 of those and just show an understanding of the facts. Some of them are really interesting, so hopefully you'll enjoy reading them. And then gold, you're going to be looking for the location in the world, capital city, language, population, flag again. This time you're going to look into the Egyptian people. So this is the culture, the human features, the human characteristics of the country, what kind of people make up their world, their sort of environment. And then you're going to look for 7 facts about ancient Egyptians, just write them down. Okay, so I'm just going to show you this website that's linked up at the top of the page, just so you get an idea of what you're going to be looking at. So this is how it looks. Oh, let's just move this out of the way. Okay, and this is National Geographic Kids, so it's a really useful website, and it's really detailed and backed up and that kind of stuff. So this bit here at the top is the facts about ancient Egypt. So you see they're numbered. There's loads of facts there about ancient Egyptians. And then it goes on to the country fact file. So we've got facts about ancient Egypt, or about Egypt now, so its official name, its capital, like I said, it's got the population, all that kind of stuff. It's got a map there. You'll be able to see this, because I'm just not connected to the internet at the moment, so you'll be able to see all of these things. These here are pictures, but obviously because I'm not connected to the internet, I can't see it. And then there's a section here that's labelled up as geography and landscape, so this is really useful for those of you doing silver. And it might be that you also include a little bit from the nature side of things as well, because you're looking at the physical features. You might want to have a little look at the and include some facts about history of Egypt. It's completely up to you. And then this bit for gold, if you are doing gold, it's this bit for the sort of human features, the Egyptian people and culture. So what kind of people live there. Maybe also do something about their economy and their government, because that is linked to human features when it comes to geography. And that's it. So that's a really, really detailed, useful website. I would suggest that you would use that, because everything that you need to include in your fact file is on that page. Okay, so what I would suggest you do now is pause the video here, because then you can keep up what you need to include. Try and make it as neat as you possibly can. Presentation still counts, especially because, remember, we want you to be sending photos through to us on the Teams chats to your teachers. Okay, so send it in an individual chat to your teacher and your teacher alone. Don't put it through on the year 6 page, because otherwise it might get lost in amongst everybody else's. So make sure you send it across to your teacher, and I look forward to seeing those from Trevose, and I hope you enjoy researching a little bit more about Egypt. And I will see you soon for another topic session.